I've got a blank order in this one. The Petoskey versus Bach. Okay, put us on the record, please, Shannon. All right, this is a matter of Petoskey versus Bach. I see that Mr. Bach is present and Ms. Petoskey is present. We have a motion to set aside a personal protection order. So the procedure is I first take testimony from the petitioner and then testimony from the respondent. So let me ask, first of all, Ms. Petoskey, is it your desire to keep a PPO in place?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, would you raise your right hand, please? You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your full name for the record and then spell your last name.
Susanna Amanda Petoskey, P-E-T-O-S-K-E-Y.
And ma'am, where do you live?
I currently recently sold a home, and I'm staying in a hotel or with friends or family.
Okay, and in what community?
I am in Lansing, I am in Oregon, I am in Arizona, I am in Frederick, Elmira.
All right, and what was your relationship with the respondent?
I was in a relationship with Mr. Bach for a little bit over 14 years. We resided in a home together that was in my name only.
And where was that?
That was in Munich, Michigan. We first started living in my home in Ann Arbor.
All right, and that relationship has ended, I take it?
Yes.
All right, and approximately when did it end?
Mr. Bach and I were never married. And in May, he was, I mean, it had been going on for some time, distancing himself and whatnot. In May, I confronted him and asked him what was going on and would he please tell me? And he said that he no longer wanted to be with me. I asked if we could attempt to stay and resolve, and he said he would think about it. A few weeks went by, I inquired again, and in June, the beginning of June, he said absolutely not, that he wanted out of the relationship. And that's when things started to deteriorate.
I'm assuming there was a point at which the two of you separated?
Mr. Bach moved out of the home that we shared together approximately July 14th.
Okay. And what is it that Mr. Bach has done that you believe necessitates a personal protection order?
Mr. Bach has a history of anger management. He worked for Sam's Club as a butcher for years, and he was fired due to an altercation with a customer. When he gets angry, he gets very, very confrontational. And in June, all of our arguments were about property and money. He indicated he had a lawyer and he was going to freeze my assets. And he raised a hand as if to hit me. He did not hit me. He disengaged and he left the home. And July 16th, a very intense argument erupted, and Mr. Bach threatened to take my dog with him. He grabbed my forearms. He pushed me forcefully. I fell to the floor, and I have osteoporosis and a fear of falling, that I might break bones. I am 61. When I got up, Mr. Bach continued to yell and name calling sprayed spittle in my face. He raised his hand to hit me. He did walk away to put his shoes on, and then he charged back at me. He snatched my cell phone from my hand. He attempted to throw it out the kitchen doors. I asked him to please stop and retrieve my phone from his hand. Mr. Bach began kicking the kitchen bar stool, and then he picked it up and he swung it toward the French glass doors. I then called 911 as Mr. Bach's behavior continued to escalate, and I was fearful for my safety and being hurt. Once Mr. Bach realized I had phoned for help, he calmed down and begged me not to say that I touched him. He's a firefighter in Pittsfield Township outside Ann Arbor, and he said he would lose his job. So the state troopers arrived, and I told them that he couldn't go to jail. And so they asked him if he would leave, and he did leave. And after that happened, my sister's a social worker in Lansing School District. I called her immediately. She came to my home. She took photos of my forearms where he had grabbed me, and I have pictures of those. And she told me to email my children as episodes like this and her experience has been they escalate, and that I should not see Mr. Bach again unless someone else is present. And I work nights.
Let me stop you. Let me stop you for a minute. You
sir.
said you had photographs. Are those photographs on your phone?
They were on my sister's phone, and I've printed them off, and I have a copy right here right now.
Hold it up to the camera.
There's like 4 of them. Sorry. Where's that picture? How do I get it? Where's my camera? I'm sorry, I'm not really savvy with this zooming technology. There's one more. Shoot.
I'm not seeing that one.
I'm sorry, I'm trying.
Yeah, part of the problem is you've got a virtual background, and
I don't even know how that, okay, I'm sorry. I don't know how to make it go away. It disappeared.
Yeah, I don't, I've never done this from an iPhone, so I don't know what the controls are. Okay, I can see that now. Thank you. When were these photographs taken?
The day of that incident, July 16th.
So on the same day?
Yes, immediately. As soon as the troopers left, I phoned my sister, and she came. It's like a 40-minute drive away. As soon as she got there, she took pictures as soon as she walked in the door. And then she told me what her experience as a social worker is and what needed to be done. So I took her advice, as this is all new to me and I've never had anything like this happen. So I texted my children. I didn't text them, I'm sorry. I emailed them. She took photos first, and then she had me email my children because she said things like this escalate and they continue to get, and I needed to document it.
Okay. He left at the request of the state trooper?
Correct. And then on July 18th, while I was asleep, Mr. Bach entered my home and he took my dog without my permission. And he texted me later saying that he had taken her because he didn't want her to be alone while I was working. And I text back, want to know when he would bring her back. And I also inquired that my snowmobile trailer was missing. I didn't know if someone had stolen it or if he had taken it because he didn't ask permission to take it. He said he had it and he would return the dog and the snowmobile trailer at the same time, which he did do like a week later. He returned them. But my license plate on the snowmobile trailer was missing. And I believe it was an attempt to get me pulled over and just caused me undue stress. I just feel like he's constantly doing anything he can to cause me anguish, physically, mentally. We own a vacation home in Frederick, Michigan. Both our names are on the deed. I'm the one that put the deposit down, $42,000. And Mr. Bach has moved into that home and claimed it as his own. So that's a whole nother avenue and whole nother thing to deal with, but I have a lawyer and he is working on getting that done. Mr. Bach had filed a PPO on me July 24th in Crawford County as an attempt to keep me from coming to my vacation home. He threatened to throw all my things away. I have legacy items in there from my parents. So anyways, I did go and had that terminated. It was terminated by the Crawford County judge. Mr. Bach, like I said, he's a firefighter in Pittsfield Township. To my knowledge, he's staying at his brother's in Grass Lake. He's driving to our vacation home in Frederick, Michigan on his 4 days off. I also am in that same area. We have similar friends, family. Mr. Bach's a foot taller than me. He weighs more than 100 pounds than me. He has a history of uncontrolled anger. He's gotten my son-in-law and my daughter and my grandchildren involved in this whole episode. He's spreading false statements and lies. It's been causing immense stress and discord within my family. He's proven that he will go to any extent he can to cause me physical harm and mental anguish. And I am in fear of my safety because he's vengeful and he's unpredictable. I just don't know what he might do next.
Okay. Mr. Bach, are there
Yes,
any
sir.
questions? Are there any questions you would like to ask Ms. Petoskey?
I have no questions, no.
All right,
Not-
so
not
now I'll
for-
hear testimony from you. Would you raise your right hand, please? You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your full name and then spell it, please.
Jody Theodore Bach, B-A-C-H.
Mr. Bach, do you acknowledge a long-term relationship with Ms. Petoskey that ended on or about July 14th of this year?
Yes, we were together for 14 years and it ended in June.
All right, and you actually moved out in July?
Yes, I moved out in July. We built that house. I actually built the house, maintained the house. It was in just her name. Her credit was better at the time when we built it, so it was a lower interest rate, was the only reason her name was the only one on there.
Wait a minute. I have to ask this. It
Yes,
doesn't make sense to me that it was in her name because her credit was bad.
no, her credit
Is
was
that-
better than mine. Mine was bad.
Her credit was better. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
glad I asked because it didn't make sense.
No, that's why it was just put in her name. We built that. We designed the house together. We had a company come in. They framed it up, and I did the complete finish work on that house, and paid the mortgage payment along with her. We split it, and I maintained it. When I decided I wanted to leave, we were together 14 years. We never had any kind of verbal or physical violence in those 14 years. The only argument we ever had was on that day in July when I said I was moving out, and the argument was over splitting all our assets. There was never no physical contact at all, which we know because she did call the police, and if there would have been any physical contact, they would have hooked me up right there, and there was not. And I was leaving, and they asked if I had anywhere to go, and I said, yes, I have a home in Frederick, we have, and that's where I'm headed. I grabbed most of my belongings and left. I only had one other time I contacted her since that incident. That was a few weeks later, and that was to make sure she was not going to be there when I came to get the rest of my belongings. So I have no intentions of contacting her whatsoever. I live 3 hours away. We have this real estate issue. We have a lot of property together, homes, but that's all being handled by attorneys. The only reason she put this PPO on me was in retaliation because I put it on her, and she knows that it's going to affect my work. I'm a firefighter in Pittsfield. I take care of the women's correction facility here in Pittsfield Township with doing inspections and pre-planning and everything. And now I have this PPO on in lien. Now I can't be cleared to do that. So she knew what she was doing. She purposely did that. So I'm asking if I could just please get that expunged from my record so I can continue with my work duties. And I have no intentions of contacting her. And she knows we've never had any physical contact whatsoever, ever. And we never even had any arguments until that day that I decided I was leaving. We never fought. I have no criminal record whatsoever. A speeding ticket like 5 years ago. I've been in public safety for 26 years. I've never had any anger. I don't know where this, she said something about Sam still being fired because of something that never happened. I have no idea what she's talking about there.
So tell me, how do you explain the bruises on her arms?
I have no idea. She was moving stuff and everything. And if those bruises were for me, the bruises would not be right there that day. That's impossible. Bruises don't happen that quick. And if there would have been, when the troopers came there, they would have found evidence. If there was any kind of they found no evidence of any physical contact. Because if there would have been, we all know in domestic violence cases, someone goes to jail. Someone gets hauled away. There was none. It was all verbal, and I was leaving, and she overreacted and called the police and everything else. She knew what she was doing. It was just to, get at me. And I left, I've had no contact with her whatsoever. I don't want any contact with her. I live 3 hours away. I need this expunged from my record. I need this PPO I have no intentions of contacting her. Everything is through attorneys now.
So the bruised marks appear to be from, it looks like there's actual fingerprints on her arm, which the only way you get bruises like that is by someone forcefully grabbing your arm, which is what she described.
Right. I don't know what she did. What she did there, Your Honor. The troopers were there. I'm sure they made a report. There was no physical contact whatsoever. Never in the 14 years ever. If there would have been any kind of anything on her, they would have took me to jail.
Did you come to her house the next day, or?
It's not her house, Your Honor. It was our house. We built it together. I lived there. Did you come back to the house 4 days later, enter the home, and remove the dog? Our dog. It's not her dog. It was our dog, which I take with me when I go to the cabin every time because she works weekends. There's a routine. And I told her the dog didn't want to be there alone. And as far as the snowmobile trailer, it's not hers. It was ours. We purchased it together. But now she's saying everything is hers. That's the issue. Everything was ours. So she says I came into her home while she was sleeping. Well, it's our home. I built it. I paid the mortgage. I maintained it. That was my last time there. I was getting the rest of my belongings. I grabbed both our dogs and I took them with me. And I was going to return them when I returned the trailer, which I did.
Okay. Anything else you want me to consider?
I just wanted you to consider that, I've been in public safety 26 years. I have no history of violence whatsoever. I have no intentions of contacting her whatsoever. The attorneys are handling this from here on out. Like I said, I live 3 hours away. I don't want any contact with her. She's fabricating stuff. I'm staying away and letting the attorneys handle everything. I beg the court to get rid of this PPO so it's affecting my job and my duties at work.
Ms. Petoskey, are there any questions you would like to ask Mr. Bach?
No, but some of the stuff he said was false statements.
All right, well, you may respond to those now.
The dog is mine, Mishimakwa. I researched her, bought her, flew her home from Oregon. The snowmobile trailer was mine, as is my snowmobile. I financed it. I have records indicating that I got a loan for it. And the whole thing about the house, when we initially began that, Mr. Bach had, he came to the relationship with a lease truck, a used ATV, large amount of debt. He didn't have any savings. I had a house in Ann Arbor, investments, a savings. I had assets. And that's what we used to initiate and build that home. I borrowed $80,000 from my father to purchase the land. So it's a hot mess. It is. It's a hot mess.
Okay, thank you. So I've listened carefully to the testimony. Frankly, I believe the petitioner about the incident that happened on July 14th, if that's the right date, but in any event, the bruises, etc. But I also believe the defendant in that this is not a relationship that was characterized by domestic violence. As he testifies, it appears that there was an extremely hostile, highly emotionally charged separation. It appears that Mr. Bach very well did lose his cool, but we don't have a situation where we've got ongoing abuse. We don't have a situation where the petitioner was beaten. And most importantly, now that the parties have been separated and tempers have cooled, I don't see that Mr. Bach is an ongoing risk to Ms. Petoskey. So even though I believe her testimony as to what happened, I do not believe it's necessary for a PPO to remain in force. But Ms. Petoskey, I will tell you that if there is any further behavior that would necessitate a PPO, you could certainly request that a new one be issued. But I am going to terminate the PPO. I will caution you, Mr. Bach, just as you've assured the court, you have no reason to contact her. You have no reason to be around her. I'm going to hold you to your word.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
We do share property, though. That's the only issue.
I get that, and that needs,
and I plan on coming to Frederick.
That needs to be resolved by your lawyers. That's not something I can handle with a PPO.
That is true. All right. I appreciate your time, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your
welcome.
Honor.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You said you do have the order in there.
Yeah, there's a blank order. Let me fill that out. Okay, we're waiting for, okay, it looks like we finally have an audio connection with Mr. Smith. So we have a number of things on the docket today. Let me make sure I've got them all in focus. We have a show cause hearing for violation of a personal protection order. We have objections that were filed to a recommended order of the referee. And we have a number of parenting time complaints. So I'm going to take a moment Ms. Engblom, have you changed your name? I want to make sure I call you by the right name.
Yes, I recently just got married. So it's Mrs. Reynolds now.
Okay. All right. With respect to the show cause, Mr. Engblom, I need to advise you concerning your rights with a violation or alleged violation of a personal protection order. You are entitled to contest this charge. Of course, you're entitled to the assistance of an attorney. If it appears that a jail sentence is possible, and that's always possible with the violation of a PPO, particularly in this case, since you've been in front of me so many times in the past for PPO violations. You are also entitled to be represented by an attorney, and if you can't afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. With respect to the PPO violation only, do you wish to be represented by an attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can I have the form? We have to make sure you qualify for a court-appointed attorney. I do not make that determination. I just send this downstairs and someone else makes that decision.
And I will need that file when that's all done.
You can have them all when we're all done.
I don't want them all, just like PPO.
Mr. Smith, what's your date of birth?
3/29/89.
And your current address?
11391 Straight Road, Strait, Jonesville, Michigan, 49250.
Your phone number?
517-262-9409.
You're currently single?
Yes.
Do you own or rent?
Rent.
Are there any dependents that live with you?
One.
How old?
11.
Are you currently employed?
Yes, part-time as a painter.
As an employee or as a independent contractor?
As an employee for independent contractor.
Who is the employer?
Burke Painting.
Say it again, you broke up a little.
Burke Painting.
Burke?
Yes.
How long have you worked for Burke Painting?
A month.
What's the address for Burke Painting?
I don't know it.
Can you tell me at least the city?
It's in Jackson.
Are you paid by the hour?
Yes.
How many hours do you work on average?
8 or 9.
What hourly rate?
12.
Do you have any other source of income?
No.
Do you make payments on a vehicle?
No.
How much is your rent?
$450.
How much is your child support obligation?
$330 a month.
Okay, I want you to raise your right hand. Do you swear that all of the information you just provided to me in support of a court-appointed attorney is true to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so we will not be addressing the violations today because you're entitled to be represented by counsel. That'll be scheduled at a future date.
When do you want to put that on our docket?
It has to be a couple weeks out so we can get attorneys up to speed. Okay, so. And I want to make sure. Okay, the objections were to the findings of referee Manzer from a hearing that occurred on May 4th of 2020, which addressed a number of parenting time complaints. They were dismissed because of your non-appearance. Where were you on May 4th of 2020?
Your Honor, I had never gotten the date in the mail until it was too late.
So the mailing would have been on April 21st for a hearing on May 4th, so approximately 2 weeks later. When did you actually receive the notice?
It was afterward. It was that Saturday after the hearing.
All right, the court will include those parenting time complaints in its consideration today. So let me just quickly go through the alleged denials. According to the referee's recommendations, you were denied parenting time on February 17th. I'm sorry. Your complaint was dated February 17th. Your allegation that you were denied parenting time for the period from February 14th to February 16th. The next complaint was on February 20, complaining that you were denied parenting time from the 19th of February, on the 19th of February from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. All right, give me just a moment to look at the parenting time order. So Kim, do you happen to have the
Yes,
date of the order? I can find it in here, I just need to know what date it is.
it's the JOD 31819.
Oh, okay. All right, let me put a tab on that so I don't have any trouble locating it in the future. So that order provides that you get parenting time every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. and every other weekend from 11 a.m. on Friday to 6 p.m. on Sunday. As far as you know, is that the parenting time order that is currently in place?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and Ms. Reynolds, you agree that's the correct order?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so that'll help me in going through the
Your Honor,
complaint.
I say a word.
Yes,
The referee, back when we had that hearing, the referee tried calling William numerous times, and then he even called me back to see if that was the correct phone number, and it was. And he said, since he didn't answer, we'll continue going on. So he did get phone calls and voicemails from that referee that day about the hearing that we were supposed to have. So he was notified and he got a heads up because they called me too, because we had it over the phone instead of in person.
Mr. Smith, you acknowledge getting phone calls from the referee that day?
No, they called the wrong number, Your Honor.
Well, if not, I guess friend of the court might have it on record. And then I was also questioning too, the parenting time complaint form, it says you can't make complaints more than 56 days ago. Half of these complaints are more than 56 days ago. So I'm just kind of wondering how that works
All
out.
right, we'll get a chance to listen to your defenses, but first of all, I want to verify what the complaints are. All
Just one-
right. Well, let me ask you, Mr. Smith, before I go any further, when's the last time you had parenting time with your child?
I had just few when it was the week after I came back from Georgia. Um, it was for 3 hours. It was on my weekend, and she came back and picked her up.
When's the last time, ma'am, you get a chance, okay? Don't interrupt. When's the last time you exercised all of your court-ordered parenting time?
All of the court order parenting time, it was around January.
All right, so since January, you've not been allowed to exercise parenting time consistent with the language of the order.
Yes, Your Honor, and I wasn't allowed to. I have 4 weeks vacation. I wasn't allowed to bring it to her because she was threatened a violation of a PPO.
Okay. So Kim, with respect to the parenting time complaints that were referenced in referee Manzer's order, which includes February and March, do you know if Mr. Smith's parenting time complaints were timely made?
Yes, they were, Your Honor. We kind of fell in the pandemic beginning area there, so there was some delays, but they were all received within the 56 days of the date they were filed.
Okay. And then with respect to the number of complaints that are up today, and I don't know, let me see, you gave me something that has those listed. From March through looks like through October 7th.
Yes, Your Honor, because the referee stopped accepting complaints even though there was a hearing scheduled. So I had those on file. They were received within the allowed time.
So all of the parenting time complaints were timely filed, even though Ms. Reynolds wasn't necessarily informed of them promptly.
Yes and no, because we did have a hearing scheduled for July that was held off because Mr. Smith had to go out of state. And then they were kind of just held until he came back, and then there was additional complaints filed. So we kind of had all of them
All right,
together.
so we have complaints from February through June 24th, and then a period of time apparently when Mr. Smith was unavailable, and then new complaints beginning on September 23rd.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So let me ask you, Ms. Reynolds, do you acknowledge that Mr. Smith did not get his parenting time on all of the dates that he's complained?
What was that? Sorry.
So I'll go through. So he's complained that he didn't get his parenting time in February and March, that he didn't get his parenting time in from
Oh,
March through June, so let's focus on those. Did he exercise any parenting time during the period from February 17th through June 24th?
Well, from about February until the end of March, we were trying to do the parenting time, but half the time he would never show up. But I do have proof of all that and all text messages, all in my file. I will send to friend of the
All
court.
right, well,
Also,
I'll address those. My question isn't, did he fail to exercise? My question is just simply, did he not exercise parenting time during that time period?
no, because half the time he wouldn't show up. So I would say no.
Okay, well, we'll get to your reasons. I just want to make sure there isn't any dispute that he did not, in fact, exercise the parenting time. As to whether or not he showed up, I'll get to that and I'll ask you about that.
Okay, because it was kind of messy because that's why we were waiting for court because that's what I was saying about the end of March, he was trying to see her, but I did deny him parenting time due to the fact of Will's ability to care for our daughter. And then the whole pandemic happened and then he got incarcerated in June and he was gone for 3 months and then here we are.
All right, and he's not making any complaints for the period that he was incarcerated. We understand that. All right, so let's go through them. His first complaint is for the weekend from February 14th to February 16th. Did you deny him parenting time for that time period?
I don't know, Your Honor, it was months ago. I have to actually look at my paperwork on all of that. Because I didn't know because I got a, which I have to find it in here, but I got a paperwork saying that all the parenting days from February to March are all dismissed. So I wasn't ready for that today. I thought we were just going over the PPO violation and then the past few months, not going all the way back in February.
He objected to that recommendation.
I didn't know that, Your Honor.
I have to consider I have to consider the claims. I will tell you what the referee said, that you told him that he did not appear at the Spring Arbor Fire Station, the exchange site, that you waited there until noon on February 14th and heard nothing from him. Do you have notes that verify that?
Not present, but yes, I take screenshots and I even take pictures. Yeah. Here's some of May where he was late. March, he was late. March again, he was late. April 17th, he was late. So yeah, I just don't have February right now in my hands, but.
All right, well, I'm
So
going
it seems
to
accurate,
assume
yes.
all right, and then for the day visit on February 19th, you testified to the referee that he failed to appear, that he finally contacted you at 11:50.
When it was past.
And it was your position that he had forfeited his parenting time by not appearing on time.
Correct.
There's a mention there about whether or not Mr. Smith had a valid driver's license. Do you know if he did or did not?
He didn't. I had to call 911 numerous times because Will would drive past the parenting spot when it's my time to get our daughter. And I remember one incident, my husband, my fiance at the time, we followed him and he drove to his mom's house. I had the police on the phone and I said he has no license. He just drove past the parenting spot when it's time for me to get my daughter. So that's another issue. He's been driving technically illegally with my daughter in the car. And half the time when it's parenting time, it's iffy because he just walks up to my car. No one else is with him. I don't even know where his vehicle is. I don't know if he's driving illegally. I don't know if he has a third party. So always causes
So
an issue.
let me stop you for a minute. I just
Your
realized
Honor, Your Honor,
Hold-
she shows up. She
Hold
shows
on.
up and she takes
hold
off.
on,
Okay, she'll
Hold
show
on.
up to.
hold on. I just remembered, Ms. Reynolds, that I failed to put you under oath, so would you raise your right hand, please? You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. I swear.
She's lying.
So at the hearing before the referee, can you verify that you provided Mr. Manzer with truthful information in response to the parenting time complaints that were under consideration at that time?
Yes.
All right. So,
And if you'd like me to, I can go through all my copies today and send them into the courthouse of
no, I'm
everything.
satisfied. I'm satisfied with referee Manzer's record of your defense to those various violations, alleged violations. So, was there normally at an exchange of the child a licensed driver with Mr. Smith when he would pick up the child?
What was that?
On your normally scheduled exchanges, did Mr. Smith normally have a licensed driver with him when he came to pick up your child?
I don't know because Will would walk out of nowhere. I don't know where he came from. So I don't know if he had proof of a driver or if he was driving his car. One day he parked somewhere else. He ended up getting arrested. It was a parenting day. He actually violated his PPO, got arrested, and then he actually had no license that day. So I'm glad he didn't get my daughter because he would have drove illegally again.
So you don't know one way or the other because of where he parks,
I don't
whether
know.
or not he has a licensed driver with him, either at the time of pickup or at the time of drop off.
Correct. I have no clue.
And there are some occasions when you know he's been driving illegally at a pickup or a drop off.
Correct.
Let me stop for just a minute. Mr. Smith, do you acknowledge that your driver's license is suspended?
Yes, I do now. It's not. It's my driver's license is valid. It's just I'm not restricted on driving right now.
What is the restriction? No driving?
No driving. No.
And
But
who
it
put
does
those
say that my
restrictions?
license is valid. I'm eligible.
Who put the driving restrictions in place?
What's that?
Who restricted your driving privileges?
Secretary of State.
So you know if you get stopped driving the vehicle on that license, you're subject to being arrested.
Yes, I know that, Your Honor. But the reason why she doesn't see anybody that takes me to go and get her is because that she harasses them. And I did file a complaint, and I did put in the complaint the person who she was harassing, who was taking me every day, every time to pick up my daughter. She would harass them, or she shows up and she will say, "Where's your driver?" and then roll up the window and skirt off with my daughter in the back of the car.
Why would I do that?
Right.
Hold on a minute. Hold on, ma'am. So Mr. Smith, you do your exchanges, or when you do exchanges, you do them at the I think I read it, the Spring Arbor Fire Station, is that right?
Yes,
Correct.
but I'm not allowed to go there because there's a PPO against me, that her husband has against me, apparently. I don't know if it's true. I was never served it, but she says so.
Actually,
And
were served. You just
so I
shredded.
had to
Hold,
file a
hold
PPO to pick up my
on.
daughter.
I can only listen to one at a time. I'll give you a chance.
I can find the pictures of the PPO you shredded up, Will. You want to
It
see
wasn't
them?
shredded up, it's crumbled up. I have the document.
You can't talk to each other. You gotta address your comments to me. Uh,
Connor, he got served. I had my neighbor serve him. I can send you the pictures if you'd like. He actually got in his car and tried to chase down my neighbor. He actually made a
What-
police
It's not
who's
report.
the, hold,
It's not
hold
true.
on, hold on, hold
Total
on.
lie.
I want to try to find that particular PPO because obviously it complicates things.
Well, when it's parenting days, my husband's not even at the fire station. He's at his actual job. So my husband's not even around. So
All right,
we don't
hold
want to
on
be
a minute.
violating his PPO.
Hold on. I'm trying to look something up. I can't listen to you and look something up at the same time. Well, finding something under Mr. Smith's name is going to be a challenge. Ma'am, what is your husband's name?
Alec Reynolds, ALEC.
All right, I have a proof of service showing Mr. Smith was served with that PPO on December 11th.
I was never served with it, Your Honor.
I can send you the pictures, Connor.
All right, and this is a Judge Wilson PPO. Let me see what it says. All right, well, it certainly does prohibit Mr. Smith from appearing in Mr. Reynolds' presence. Okay, well, I can deal with that in this order by simply saying that he can't be present at any exchange of the minor child. So that solves that problem. Can I have that PPO file back, Shannon?
Yep.
Ma'am, how old is your child?
She'll be 4 in December. So she's a little over
So
3.5.
So 3.5. How do you feel about him walking to and from your vehicle and to and from Mr. Smith's vehicle? Do you,
Half the time, I
That
feel
is-
like safe 24/7, even with not parenting days. I literally fear for my life and my daughter's life on the daily. That's why I had to extend the PPO. That's why I had my husband get a PPO because he threatened to shoot him in the head. Will even texted me on May 1st saying no PPO will work. So
I just wanted to focus on, is the child old enough to get out of one car
By
and walk
herself,
to the
no.
other vehicle?
No,
Okay,
she's not
all
old
right,
enough.
well, all right. We may have to figure out a different way to do exchanges because I want to get that fixed today.
Well, I was wondering if we could maybe meet at Friend of the Court or somewhere. Where we don't even have to see each other. I can't see Will anymore. He either harasses me or it's whatever. I can't.
Yeah, the problem with that is the timing. They're not available to do this just at any time of the day or night.
Well, that's
or
why
any
it's hard
day.
too. Because that's why I like having my husband with me in case something does happen. But now that he has to fear for his life, it's kind of hard. But I guess like what you said though, I mean like can't really
My-
deny
Kim,
parenting time with PPO. But
Your Honor,
hold on.
may I make a
Hold on.
suggestion, Your Honor?
Sure, go ahead.
My fiance can do it.
I thought you were single.
I'm
You swore under oath. Okay.
married.
So I thought there were conflicts between Ms. Reynolds and your fiance.
There was. She harassed me.
I wasn't aware of that, but okay.
Actually, send me a text message. I can find it. You said, I found out Lindsay went to your house. I told her not to. Let's see, May 20th. Where are we at? Right here.
I
The
remember seeing
PPO
that.
said that I forced my fiance to go to her house, and she just said that I didn't. So,
I found out Lindsay went to your
Oh.
house when I begged her not to.
All right,
apologize, she told me.
let me stop you. Let me stop you both. Regardless of whether there was some tension in the past, is it possible, Ms. Reynolds, for exchanges to be done with Mr. Smith's fiance rather than
No.
him being present? All right, that's all
After
I
she
needed to hear.
harassed me
Thank
on May
you.
20th? No, thank you.
I don't need to hear anything else. I was just inquiring. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Kim, do you happen to know when the friend of the court exchange is available to do exchanges?
No, I think
Well-
it's limited times on the weekends. They're not there very
Will my mother
often.
work?
Cindy would work if she's willing.
She is willing.
Then yes, that would work.
All right.
Things
that
go
would be
smoothly
great.
with Will's mom.
Where does she live?
She lives 4670 Reynolds Road in Jackson, Michigan. It's perfect. It's right in between both of our houses.
Ms. Reynolds, would you be comfortable doing the exchanges there as long as Mr. Smith isn't present?
In the future, yes, possibly after court is settled, we'll see what happens. But right now, no, I don't feel comfortable with everything going on, of course, but
Well, my goal today is to get everything fixed, okay? What
okay.
I'm also trying to do is fix things going forward so you don't have to come back again.
That would be nice.
Figuring out a way where an exchange can take place without the two of you or your husband, in your case, ma'am, and his fiance having to have any contact with each other. Anything we can do to reduce potential conflicts for the benefit of your child, I think is in everybody's advantage. And if you've got a civil relationship with his mother, that sounds to me like that's the best way to do it. And,
I think so too.
And that the pickups and drop-offs be done in a way where you don't have to be there when he's there and vice versa.
Okay.
That sounds great, Your Honor.
What's the address again for your mother?
4670 Reynolds Road.
Is that in Spring Arbor or Jackson?
It's Jackson address. 49201.
All right, we'll try to get that fixed. Now, we still have to deal with the parenting time denials. As I go through the early ones that I realize you don't have the records for, but I'm going to rely on what you told referee Manzer as being accurate. The midday visit on the 20th, he claims you denied. This is the one where you said he didn't show up and didn't even call you until 50 minutes later. The next one was the day visit on March 3rd. I'm trying to understand this. So he did have parenting time that day, but your complaint is, well, I'm not even sure why this is a complaint. According to this complaint, Mr. Smith, you actually got your parenting time on March 3rd, but you didn't return the child until 6 p.m. rather than 3 p.m. How is that even a parenting time complaint?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Do you have notes in front of you, or do you have an independent recollection today of what happened on March 3rd for your parenting time?
I am not sure. I might have written it down wrong.
Okay, I'm going to go with what the referee says here. The next one that's part of the referee's order is for March 4th, which I'm puzzled why we're looking at back to back. Anyway. All right, this is an occasion when you failed to appear, but later in the day you showed up at her residence banging on the door, resulting in your arrest. The next one is March 6th, which is an 11 a.m. visit, but you failed to appear. Defendant remained for an additional 35 minutes without hearing anything from you. All right, so based upon what was reported to the referee, I'm denying the objections. The referee's order will remain in place for the complaints that were considered in that order. So now let's look forward to the new complaints that no one else has looked at before. Friday, March 27th, 11 to 5. Ms. Reynolds, what happened on that day?
March 27th. Looks like, I'm assuming Will was late.
No, I was
Or
not
you-
late, Your
Or
Honor.
even, I don't even know.
I was on my way.
Oh, wait,
I
was
was
that your
on my way to the
birthday?
pickup spot. And
Mr. Smith, don't interrupt. I'll give you a chance.
I
According
think,
According to the parenting time complaint, it says instead of getting her at 11 a.m., he didn't get her until 5 p.m., which I'm not sure how that happened.
was that when does it say that? Because I don't know if that's around that time, but I remember traveling to Homer because I was going to drop her off, but he wasn't there. I banged on the door. Some girl answered. She said that he doesn't even live there. And then Will said he lived in Jackson. I'm just like, oh, okay. And then he just begged and begged and begged. And I think it was his birthday or something. So I got scared that I was going to get in trouble. So I think I finally gave her up. And then I think some girl like followed me to where I had to call 911. And then some big thing broke out. I don't know.
All right, I've actually.
she
I've got
followed
a-
the girl, Your Honor.
I've got
I
a
was trying to-
Your Honor, she
Hold on. I've got a text message
How would I
related,
follow her every minute?
attached to that complaint. And what does it show? Let me see. There aren't any dates on it. It shows Ms. Reynolds sending a text that says it's past noon. Since I never heard from you and you failed to pick up Ashley at 11, sorry to inform you, I'll be keeping Laney this weekend. All right.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He texted me 9 times in a row that day asking for his daughter. He even,
After he failed to show for the scheduled time.
yes. And then he,
Okay,
Your Honor, I did show. Okay, I was on my way there. She took off to Homer, which was something that she doesn't normally do. She doesn't ever drop her off. She always forces me to come get her. Okay. I was on my way
Actually-
there and she had already left Homer and then she sent me that text message.
I'm here waiting. It's 11:04 a.m. Well, wait a minute.
that was March 25th.
That's a different one. I'm sorry. This one
Yep.
says,
It looks like we don't really have the other, 'cause I think we might be looking at the same copy. It says, don't break the law and you won't be in this situation. And that's when he texts me 10 times. Even says, I'm a reject, I'm a douchebag, I'm a F up. Does anything help? I just want my daughter.
that particular complaint only says that, the email says, uh, that he wasn't there for the pickup. Looks like he begged for some more time, but you denied it. Okay, the next complaint is for April 1st. Give me
I
just a
got
moment.
time, Your Honor. That, Your
We
Honor,
lost you, Mr. Smith. Do you have additional information to
I had
provide
time.
regarding? All right, I'm really having trouble. You're breaking up badly. Can you give me your phone number? Let me see if we can try that.
Hello?
Can you give me your phone number, please?
For me?
Yes.
517-262-9409.
All right, I'm going to call you because your connection is causing your voice to break up, and I'm having trouble understanding you.
Okay.
Hello?
Mr. Smith. All right.
Yeah.
This is much better. So what more did you want to tell me about the exchange on March 27th?
I was on my way to go meet her at the spot, and she showed up. She ended up going to Homer and going to my house instead of waiting for me to pick her up like normal. And that's all the confusion was. But she says since I wasn't at my house, then.
So you were.
But it was just random. I didn't know that she was going to drop her off. I thought I was having to pick her up, so I was on my way to actually go get her.
But you acknowledge you were late.
I wasn't late.
Your Honor, I can send you the text message saying, I don't live in Homer anymore. I live in Jackson, after I already just got home and settled in with my daughter. And it was past parenting time.
So this exchange wasn't at the Spring Arbor Fire Station?
No, because I wanted to,
No,
I want to look in his house when it was parenting time. So I said I would meet him in Homer because I wanted to peek inside to see if it was safe for my child. And then somebody else answered and said Will wasn't even there. He was nowhere to be found. And so I drove home into that, and then that's when he blew up my phone.
All right. And Mr. Smith, your testimony is the exchange wasn't supposed to be at your house. You were on your way to pick up your child at the regular meeting spot.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And that was for a weekend.
Yes, for my birthday weekend.
Okay. Let's move on to April 1st. That was an 11 to 3 parenting time. And your parenting time complaint says she was denying you, she told you she was denying you parenting time because of COVID.
Yes.
Is that accurate, Ms. Reynolds?
Yes. Probably.
Okay, and then on April 8th, a Wednesday, which would have been a daytime visit, the complaint says, oh, I'm sorry, I read the wrong one for April 1st.
You say, I was just trying to find that paper. I don't think that I don't know if that sounds.
I read the wrong one, I'm sorry. The one on April 1st was, Mr. Smith didn't get an answer until 11:30, and that you were not going to allow the parenting time because you wanted to make sure your daughter was safe from COVID. And the one on April 8th was the one that said you denied it because of COVID. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was a mix of
Yes.
COVID and the fact of I don't think he can care for my child, the ability.
Okay, next is a weekend of April 10th through April 18th. And it just says you denied the parenting time, ma'am, and no reason given. Was that COVID again?
I
Yes,
think
it was continuing.
actually, Your
Wait
Honor,
a minute, was that? Okay. All right,
Your
go
Honor.
ahead, ma'am.
I was gonna say I started denying him too because I found out from Will's mom. I got a text message. I believe it was February, April. He tried to commit suicide. So I was wondering on his ability for the need for him to actually take care of my child. She even texted me saying, Ashley, I'm so sorry about my son's behavior. And that could be mental illness and a personality disorder. And especially during the corona pandemic, she was very concerned. So was I as a mother. And that's another reason why I started denying.
Mr. Smith, do you acknowledge some communication to your mother about a suicide attempt?
Your Honor, she is misreading that to you. It was not a suicide attempt. I was hanging electrical in a barn and I caught a wire. I fell and caught a wire on my neck and I had to go to the hospital, but
Well, I actually have the Facebook
it wasn't
messages.
a suicide attempt.
Well, if you want, Your Honor, I can send those text messages in because I have. By the way, Will texted me last night. Very sorry. Told me he tried to commit suicide by hanging and in the hospital. I was frantic. I finally messaged Justin and he said Will was fine. He faked it and he was all a lie to be with his friend. So I just blocked him. James is going to text him today and tell him that I'm going to block him as well. And then here is also proof that he tried that. So I can send that in to you if you'd like.
And that's from his mother?
Yep, it's
Yes,
text
she
message.
also harasses my mother too.
Also,
My mother's
I
getting tired of it.
All right,
Will's
hold on.
best friend Justin, Your Honor.
She likes flipping the words around that my mother says, and I'm not.
How do I do that
All
when
right,
they're on text messages? Your
hold
mother's.
on, hold on. There was a denial on Easter Sunday, which was supposed to be Mr. Smith's holiday. You acknowledge that, ma'am?
Yep, I probably told him no parenting time until court was open.
All right. And that was because you were concerned about him being unstable and unsafe?
Yep, he was homeless. He had no job. He's in and out of jail. And then the fact his mental health that I found out.
All right.
None of that is true. None of that is true, Your Honor.
I'm just trying to find out what her reason was, sir. She obviously can't prove those things are true. It only proves her concern. So then on April 24th, which would have been a weekend, There was an actual text exchange on that day. Give me a moment to read that. All right, this is he claims he was there at the meeting place and you said, no, you weren't. You weren't there.
Yeah, I
And
want
you
to catch
didn't
him
get
in
a
a
hold of-
lie. He says he's been showing
You
up to the
didn't get a-
parenting spots and he doesn't show.
Yes, I do. I did show up, but to follow a PPO, I didn't show up at the fire station because I didn't know if he was at work or not. And it says right on the on any PPO that I'm not allowed to go to that person's work.
The PPO that
maybe
you
you
didn't
should-
get served with?
Yes, because she told me about it. So I know that hasn't served me things in the past. So I know that there's really no way I can prove that she didn't serve it to me. But
All right, fair enough. Let's see, next one
I
was
just-
the 29th, which was a day visit. And let's see. I'm at the post office ready to pick up Laney. Leave me alone. You are not here. Ashley, you are harassing me. Is there another time that would be better suitable? I'm only acting on my right as her parent. I have every right to know my daughter's welfare. So apparently you denied him the parenting time because you were concerned about your daughter's safety, correct?
Yes. And he
All right.
also, he did a fake police report. I'm going to ask the Spring Arbor officer about that. An officer showed up to my house saying that our daughter was a missing child. And after I texted Will saying that Lainey is at home safe with me, I still ended up having a police officer to my house and did a welfare check for a missing child. But I
All
knew
right.
the officer.
that was on a different day, Your Honor. That was on Father's Day weekend when I was supposed to get my child, and I called for a welfare check, not for a missing child. I called for a welfare check, and I thought that a welfare check was just a phone call, but they went to her house. I just wanted a welfare check because she doesn't answer me, and she wasn't answering me on Father's Day weekend.
All right.
You know what? I can't wait to send in all the text messages, the real proof.
Hold on. So on May 6th, the complaint just says you didn't show up because you were concerned about a violation, but you didn't get your parenting time as a result of that. May 10th, weekend of the 8th to the 10th. And basically, many exchanges of text messages, but it looks like mom's refusing the parenting time. And because she refused, you didn't actually show up at the exchange. It looks like the same tenor of complaint is taking place on the 12th. I'm sorry, the 13th. Same thing on the 20th. Same on the
Your Honor?
22nd. Yes.
I'm going to say, yeah, another reason why I even I found April 1st. He texted me, it may make things a little easier on you, but I'm sorry for letting my emotions and stress making me act nutty. So that's another reason why I kept our daughter, because he was acting, his words, nutty.
Okay.
And I want to wait until court opened up.
6-3, same thing. So it looks like the stretch until the end of June, and then after that, apparently you got jailed in another state, is that correct?
Yes, I applied for a credit card in my father's name. I was in my father's state.
All right, that brings us to the present, September 23rd. So this must have been after you got out of jail.
Yes.
So your complaint says, denied, no place to show up to pick her up. Mother says because I was investigating her mother's involvement with our child. Her mother is a felony fugitive of the state. I have trouble following that. Whose mother are you talking about here?
That has nothing to do with this.
Her mother has threatened me, has done all types of things, and tried to get our daughter when she was born, and tried to take her somewhere. I don't know, but her mother has been 8 or more years. She's been running from Kalamazoo County for meth charges.
Hold up. What does that have to do with your parenting time?
I don't know. She says it's because I was investigating it.
Oh, I got you.
She says
I got
She
you.
says, remember, I investigated her mother or whatever. She says it was over the drugs being part of my child's life. I don't want drugs a part of my child's life.
Maybe you shouldn't do that.
And if her mother is going to be around her, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to have my child.
All right, hold on. So September 20, the weekend of the 25th to the 27th.
Yeah, the 23rd.
You said
bring it up.
you said she dropped her off at 4 p.m., but then it says forcefully took her back at 6 p.m. Tell me about that.
Well, she came to pick her up, and I'm not going to deny her and have her cause a scene in front of my daughter, so I just gave her up.
You mean, well, but I'm having trouble following the complaint. You were supposed to have the child from the 25th through the 27th, but you only had her for a few hours on the 25th? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So she came back and picked her up early. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then September 30th was a day visit. It says nowhere to show. What do you mean by that?
Nowhere to go to pick up my daughter. I can't go to her house. I went to jail for that. I can't go to the fire station because there's a PPO there. There's no place that I can go to pick up my daughter. And I've tried before, and I've tried in all this, I've tried to suggest my mother plenty of times. And in fact, on the 25th, she gave me her at my mother's house. And I was nice as can be. I mean, nice as hell to her. I mean, there was no reason to be scared.
He's lying.
And she still came and picked her up. I mean, it was perfectly fine. I mean, she left. She left her alone with me. It was for 3 hours, but I mean, still, everything was fine. My daughter was safe.
Right.
I would never put my daughter in harm's way, ever.
But go to jail. Like, you went to jail 2 times in the last 6 months.
I went to jail because I was pressing an issue with her mother with Pulaski County, and you filed for.
All right, hold on.
This is not what this is about. This is about our child. Can we please get to our child, Your Honor?
Hold on, both of you.
I'm going to say first, For Wednesdays, September 30th, where it says nowhere to show, he didn't even ask me about parenting time. He just said, how's Lainey doing today? And then I didn't hear from him for like 6 days after that. And then when he got out of jail, September 15th, he texted me and was pretty much demanding our daughter. And I said, well, you just got out of jail. We have to wait till court is open. We can't just go back to our normal scheduling day. But then I got a little scared. So I was just like, well, fine. How about we just agree you see our daughter for a couple hours? We can do baby steps. And then he agreed, which I have all the text messages. And then I finally was just like, how are things going? And then I said, I'm glad things are going good. I'm about to have dinner myself and pick her up at 7. Is that okay? He wrote, okay. And then he texted me later that night. Thank you for that. Hope she has a good night. Talk to you soon. And then I didn't hear from him until Saturday. So technically, I didn't even hear from him that Wednesday for the parenting day. Had no idea.
All right, well, hold on. I'm trying to fashion a new order to deal with exchanges. So currently, the practice has been for the midweek visits, who drops and who picks up?
It's me doing everything.
Normally, I have to drop her off at both times.
All right, so it's 11 to what time? 6?
3 or Wednesdays.
11 a.m. on Friday till 6 p.m. on Sunday.
No, I'm talking about the midweek visit.
The midweek, it's 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
All right, so I want to minimize the potential for either one of you to see each other. So I want to have mom drop the child well, let's try this by 10:45. And then I want dad to return the child by 2:45. So the pickup will be at 11, but the drop will be 15 minutes earlier. That way you're not both there at the same time. And the same thing for the return. Mr. Smith, you'd have to have her back by 2:45 and then be on your way so that when Ms. Reynolds comes at 3 o'clock, you're not going to be there. So
Okay.
All right, and then weekends, we'll do the same thing. Weekends are what, Fridays from 11 until Sunday at 6?
Yes.
So same thing, drop the child by 10:45 a.m. And then, Mr. Smith, you have to return the child by 5:45 p.m. And again, this is to minimize any potential for the two of you to have any contact at all. I will get this order out, hopefully in the mail today. But I expect you to follow this. The amount of drama that's taking place surrounding your daughter is not good for your daughter.
Yes, I know.
Mr. Smith, you've acknowledged that, and I assume, Ms. Reynolds, you know that as well. This isn't good for her. From everything that I've seen, the daughter's well bonded to both of you, wants to spend time with both of you. The sooner the two of you can get to a point where you can have civil exchanges, minimal conversations about anything other than the child. In fact, no conversations about anything other than the child. And put all of this drama behind you, the better off both of you are going to be, the better off your child is going to be. With respect to the parenting time complaints, before I make a decision on make-up parenting time, Ms. Reynolds, I want you to submit to the court and to Mr. Smith at the same time, copies of the text messages that you claim explain all of these exchanges.
So
I will
send,
wait till I get,
you said send copies of all the text messages that I have to court and copies to Will?
yes.
Okay.
And I
Well,
will make a decision on those complaints. Obviously, I've already made a decision as to the ones back in March and April. I'm standing by what the referee did. As to the other ones, once I see the text exchanges, I will make a call as to what makeup parenting time, if any, that I'm going to order.
okay.
In the meantime, keep your conversations restricted to the child. Do everything in your power to avoid involving your child in any of these exchanges. I will get this order out, hopefully in today's mail, regarding modification of parenting time exchanges. All right, that concludes this hearing, but we're going to see you back for the PPO violation hearing. There'll be an attorney here to represent Mr. Smith. There will also be someone from the prosecutor's office, Ms. Reynolds, to represent you.
Okay.
Can I have that PPO, Your Honor?
Yes, thank you. That concludes our hearing.
Your Honor.
Yeah, go ahead.
Parenting time should conclude like it's supposed to, right?
Yes, from here forward, I expect the all exchanges to be made as ordered, but with this modification as to where they will take place.
Okay.
So at
Thank you, Your Honor.
Cindy's house,
All right.
correct? Yes.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
That concludes our hearing.